Welcome back to Big Fellas Podcast. My name's Darren.
Hello, it's Mark. How you doing, guys?
And Happy New Year. Today we're going to be talking about the best bits of the podcast from our launch, Mark, on the 9th of September 2024. So
Yeah.
3 months of learning, mate. I think it's good to compile it and put it out there and try and come up with the best bits, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good way. I'm still quite proud we've done it, you know. I remember just me and you sat on the steps opposite them Pitch It Man v Fat, just having a chat, thinking, how about this for an idea of doing a podcast?
Yeah.
You completely poo-pooed my sales idea, saying, that's shit, Mark, don't bother with that. Well, good luck to you if you want to have a go on that, but I wouldn't.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it works, isn't it? And do you know what, mate? I was laughing the other day because on episode 1, I think we discussed, we've come up with this great idea, and I remember saying, yeah, and I thought this, and I thought that, and then it was like, when I listened back to the episode, I thought to myself, fuck me, Darren, it weren't your idea. Might have come to you with this idea, and you were like, I'll do that with you.
But yeah, I got you jump on this, thinking that there's a gravy train coming, I'm getting on this, mate, definitely.
But when I was listening back to the episode, I thought, fucking hell, Darren, it sounds like your idea, and you thought Mark along this journey, and it weren't, was it? It was the other way around. But yeah, that we had that like little post-football or pre- and post-football chat, didn't we?
Yeah.
And yeah, look, mate,
And we asked Chris, saying, Chris, do you listen to podcasts? Not really. Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
Fucking Chris. Oh, I love Chris. Chris is one of my favourite players up there.
Yes, that is a lovely lad. But yeah, we had that chat, and I work in marketing, and mate, sales podcasts, a bit done to the hilt.
I think it was what you said to me was like, and then we came round here and we were sat on this sofa actually going through it, and you obviously work on a sales podcast, don't you? But I remember you just saying, look, there's this podcast on sales, this one on this one. I mean, if you want to do it, good luck to you, but you're going to be up against the likes of Steve Bartlett and Jordan Belfort. And I thought, well, yeah, I know I'm good at sales, but
Yeah,
might be a tough ask. And I think within like the podcast arena, most industries aren't oversubscribed, but if there was one, it probably would be sales, I guess, wouldn't it?
yeah, and also I think that you work as you work, right? Because mate, I've had this as well. It's like, should I do a marketing podcast? Should I do, you got things like the Podcasters Podcast, you got things like that. I could do a marketing podcast around anything, but with this, it's like, actually, this is more of a passion project. This is something you're passionate about, and I think it's easier to keep going with that.
Yeah.
And like you said, we've both had those comments, right? Especially from, the Manly Fat community and from other people as well, saying, I love the podcast. They've been really good, and the analytics are looking really good. The podcast is growing. And the good thing is we've got no business behind it.
Yeah. And it's not, we're almost switching off from work doing this in a way.
Yeah.
And I like that. But yeah, it's great that in 6 months we've gone from having a chat in the car park at Man v Fat to sat here 3 months in with, I don't know how many, we are 14, 15 episodes done. No. Well, we're recording 14, 15 episodes with a few more by the time this goes out. And with a few more in the bank as well. It's great that we've got here. I'm really chuffed by it.
Yeah, definitely, mate. And, you're talking thousands of downloads. You're talking tens or maybe even hundreds of thousands of views on social media. And the important thing is that it's, hopefully someone will just get a snippet of something that will help them. We're not going to solve problems, right? We know that.
No. And I think it's important to explain our position. We're not weight loss experts. We're not fitness experts. We're two regular blokes that have lost the weight. And we feel that us talking about it is going to make it more relatable. And that certainly seems the feedback that we're getting. And I think that we've set out our stall, and that's what we want to achieve, and just hope you all like it, really.
And you got some hate online. Let's talk about that.
Oh shit, we haven't spoken about that. We got called out. We've actually been called out. You got called out.
Mark's been a bit and people again.
Oh mate, something I do a lot of, but we had it was early on, to be fair, and we didn't really talk about it at the time, but so one of the early bits of content we did was me having a rant about how fitness experts on social media who are all fit as a fiddle, well-toned, look in perfect shape.
Live in a gym.
Let's be honest. Bang on about how to lose weight and burn fat and do this for fat loss and everything. They'd never had to lose weight, and there is a disconnect there, and I stand by that point. But I said this, and it upset one fitness professional. He's a nice chap. He is. It's Nick Whaley. His name is Nick. You are most welcome to come on the show. We'd love to have you on, mate. And we can get you on the show and we can talk about it in more detail.
Just to add, it was a very well done. Like the way he did it wasn't rude. It wasn't unprofessional. It was very well done.
No, it was. And he put it out to his community to ask the question. And so, yeah, it wasn't done in an unprofessional way. And like I said, I've known Nick since I was like 16. So like I said, he's a good guy. He was the year below me at school, but I remember him from school. So, so he called us out on it a bit and just put it to his audience and said, we can agree to disagree. I stand by what I said. I spoke to a couple of fitness professionals who agreed with me even. And the way I see it, if you're like a 23, 24 stone guy and you're sat there looking at some gym buff who's, perfectly toned, got great abs, got the guns and everything. You're 23 stone and you're thinking, I need to lose weight. But that's fucking miles away. That's not relatable. Now, hopefully we can offer that sort of bit in the middle and offer something that's a bit more relatable to at least get you on the move, make you start. You can't, it's like sitting looking at the top of Mount Everest.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. And we're both still going through it, aren't we? Like, we haven't finished. No, God, no. I'd say I'm about halfway through, really. I still got so much more to do. So the idea is that, you can join us on our journeys. And, at the moment, mate, I'm not in the best of places. I'm probably not eating I'm definitely not eating as good as I could be. My weight loss is very much leveled. We get weighed every week at Mandatory Fat, and my weight loss pretty much is maintained every week, maybe up a little bit, down a little bit, and just bobbing. But I need to get back onto that, get back down. And I think hopefully the podcast keeps us accountable from a personal perspective. That was important to both of us.
That was one of the reasons we started this, wasn't it? It was to just hold ourselves accountable.
Yeah.
And like I said, if we're talking about this every week, it's the front of our mind, and that should help us in our own weight loss endeavors. But like I said,
we also want to bring people on the journey, though, don't we? We want them to join us in our journey.
And we spoke about that in a previous episode, that one of the great things about when you lose weight is you inspire others. And so one of my best mates, Dan, is on a weight loss journey. My other half is now sort of started to sort of make inroads on that as well. And so that's a big thing. So we want to take people on the way. We're not just here to just bang out some nice likes and hits on our social media. There's a lot more to it. The social media is there, so hopefully people do see it. But we're not going to put some bogus claim to say, you do this, this, and this, and you're going to lose fat.
Well, no. Oh, if you exercise more, eat healthy all the time without fail, then you will lose fat. The problem with weight loss, mate, in my opinion, and this is why I think the podcast is so good, is because everyone knows how to lose weight. Like, I've not ever met anyone who says, I just physically don't know how to do it. Everyone knows it, but actually fucking doing it is just not, it's such a hard thing. And that's why, like, we had Dr. Lisa Clift, who's a weight loss GP, right?
Yeah, look out for those episodes. They're coming soon.
They're coming in January, those episodes. And I've been talking to her after, because shortly after we recorded, one of the things we discussed, I think off air, was how much obesity which is, it's like a disease, and it's been recognised as such now. But how much it actually costs the UK? And then a few days later, they published a report to say it's costing the UK, I think it's £256 billion a year.
Yeah.
So that's in lost productivity in NHS, in mental health services. That's across the board.
Mental, isn't it?
£250 billion, I think.
Yeah.
That's right, isn't it? £250 billion a year. Imagine if we made more progress into obesity, and this podcast is a very small part of that, but hopefully if it can inspire a few people, if it can help a few people,
Yeah.
open up a few, ideas.
Tell you what, Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves need to have a think about this. Their budget's been absolutely pummeled, hasn't it? And, okay, this is only one thing, but there's £250 billion there that's lost through, like I said, productivity and obesity. So if there's stuff we can do to improve that, then there's their budget right there.
Yeah.
I'm not a political expert by any means, or a financial expert, but it's
Common sense.
common sense, isn't it? Food for thought.
Yeah. But and this is it. So I think this episode is really important as well, Dave, because, right, we've launched a podcast. We want to get out. We want to help people. We want to do it a little bit for us as well.
Yeah.
Like we wanted to launch a podcast.
Yeah.
But I think it's important we're coming on 3 months in. I think it's important we look at what we've learned so far.
Yeah.
This episode's coming out on the 30th of December, so it's the end of 2024. So what have we learned so far in 2024?
Yeah.
And I think for me, mate, it's the losers. It's Chris and Dan who have been released already. Their episode's out.
Don't forget Darren and Mark. Those loser stories are pretty good as well.
Yeah, but they're actual losers as well. No, yeah. So yeah, there's our stories, but yeah, I taking it away from myself a bit, but certainly Dan and Chris, there's a common thing that I both noticed, and both of them used events. So like planned events. So I think both of them have done a lot of running.
Yeah.
And they've sort of to keep their motivation going, because I genuinely believe that motivation is 80% of weight loss. What you actually do is, we all know, and it will work, but being motivated to do it is the battle, right? But I think one of the common things I picked up with them is that by booking themselves into an event in the future, that holds them accountable, helps them with their motivation, and they're both going out and telling everyone what they're doing to keep themselves accountable. And that's a sort of common trend I found with two of them. Actually, that is a really good idea.
Yeah. They're working towards a goal, and just having that goal there in front of you, just remembering it and having that as your focus is really important. If you're not working towards something, it's difficult to stay motivated, because what are you doing it for?
Yeah. So on that, I've signed Mark up to the London Marathon.
Oh, hey.
No, I haven't.
I only started running for the first time like a week ago. So, let's not start just on that. Yeah. But look, shall we maybe do something? Maybe later down the line. I think London Marathon's a bit too soon for us, because that's 4 months away when this goes out, isn't it? But
yeah. But yeah, I think, it could be, do you know what, mate? I quite fancy doing something like one of those events, like, do you know where you get the obstacle courses?
or Tough Mudder or something like that.
Tough Mudder, yeah. Maybe we start with something. I think there's one there that's called Insane Terrain. I think it's like one of the lower level ones, but that might be a good one.
Yeah.
I did that when I was proper on it previously, when I was doing a lot of HIIT training at Unit Fitness.
Yeah.
And I was in a really good place, like fitness-wise, at that point. This is going back a good 10 years now. But I did it then and went around twice. So it become a 10K with the obstacle. There's hay bales to climb over and stuff. But I don't like running. Let's.
Should we set ourselves some? No, fuck it. Let's set ourselves an event for 2025. Don't know what it is just yet, but let's agree on it right now.
If you've got suggestions, then let us know. You can either text me and Mark if you're a friend, or put it on our social media. You can connect with us, Mark Hall, Darren Lockington, on LinkedIn, and send us a message. Tell us what you want to do. You can make it as public as you want, so we have to reply and at least respond to it. But
we'll commit to a physical event, either a running event or obstacle event in 2025.
Yeah. And then we'll talk about it on a podcast after.
Yeah.
Maybe a before and after.
Yeah.
Right.
We're committed now. There's
But put it there, so this is happening, mate. This is happening.
Yeah, so that's good. That would give us something to train towards. It can't be too easy. It can't be like, oh, I'm going to...
You've got a 5K park run.
Yeah, and then...
I mean, that'd be hard work for me right now, but it's still
yeah.
I think that might be the first goal, and I think I'm doing little steps. But I think we do try and commit to some kind of run or some kind of like obstacle event at some point next year.
Yeah, I think that's good. Sometime in the summer. Yeah, we'll get it going and we can start training for that. So after this episode, we'll sit down, I think, but do let us know what you're thinking. But that was a common trend anyway, so that will help. So that common trend of, I think both of them set themselves, I think in their case, it was a half marathon. They got out running. And I do genuinely believe that when you become more active, you then want to improve your food a bit more.
Yeah, and Chris his goal was the wedding, wasn't he? He's got a friend's wedding next year. And so I think he was... Obviously, he had his running goals as well, which is great. But I think there was a motivation of almost shame and embarrassment for Chris, wasn't there?
There was, yeah. And again, Chris had the photos, and I remember him talking about the shame of seeing himself in old photos from an old wedding. And then you've got Dan, who, again, I think the power of visualization is really good. I feel like a really airy-fairy saying that, but it is true. Yeah, visualizing things helps. And, Dan we asked him, look, all the medals on your thing, it's that, and he had it was almost like a little vision board, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I think, little things like that, I always feel bad because I think it's like the stimming world where they give you these little, like, oh, you've lost, I don't know, X amount and the little certificates and things. And but actually, it does work. And
of course it does. And we get them a Man Be Fat, don't we? We've got...
Do we?
5%. Okay. Well, I did, mate. Oh, yeah, he did, yeah. Percentage certificates. I've got biggest loser sort of certificate, or top scorer, sorry, not biggest loser, top scorer certificate for my that season where I lost most of the weight. And I think that all does help, doesn't it? Like,
100%, yeah, it does. And so it doesn't matter what you do. I think having something to visualize again is
setting a goal. So well, we've done it now. We've put it on camera. We've set a goal, so we've got to work towards it.
Yeah, but at the moment we can still be a bit lazy and be like, let's find a really easy event. So we can't do that. We've got to be on it. It's got to be something quite tough. And actually, do you know what? As well, if you want to join us, then let us know. If you want to get in on this, if you're on your own weight loss journey and you think, actually, do you know what? I need to do that.
Yeah. Why not? It's a good idea. I haven't thought of that.
The more the merrier, right?
Yeah. No, let's do it. And we could, like I said, get a group of us and we'll have like Team Big Fellas going around or something.
We could have Big Fellas t-shirts made up.
Well, I've already got one. Where's yours?
In the wash. In the wash. No, it's upstairs. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, we're recording at my house as well. But yeah, if you want to join us, let us know. We'll all go and do it, and it will give us all something to train for, and maybe we can keep each other accountable.
Yeah,
and get going. So,
but team effort and all that. I think that'd be awesome, actually.
Yeah.
I'm down. I'm definitely up for this.
Yeah, that'd be.
Don't know what it is yet, but we're going to do something.
Yeah, and let's do it. So what at the moment, this is a really tough question, and I'm sorry because this is a bit out of blue, but what's been the episode where you've just been like, fuck, that's really good? Like, what's your favourite episode? Not necessarily from who we've been talking to and stuff like that, because I know, we've had a Norwich player on and stuff, that's going to be hard to beat for you. But what's the episode in terms of knowledge where you're like, yeah, I love that?
Oof. You know what? The one that really kind of... Well, there's two. I'm going to give them two. They go in different directions. The one which... The first one stands out is the Paul Shepherd episode. I love that. I wasn't sure if I would when I first saw it, but I saw him live and I thought he came across really well. I went to a podcasting event and I met him there. And I thought, he's good in what he's saying, but I don't know, is it going to really resonate with our audience? Is it maybe a little bit airy-fairy? But when we got into it, it went off. I really enjoyed it. The thing that I liked, and there was one soundbite, and I know it really popped on our social media as well. It's got one of our highest views, I think, was when he was talking about how you just have this mindset where you think you're going to lose this weight and then your life will become amazing. And it's not simple as that, is it? And we trick ourselves into thinking this, and he just came here from a completely different angle, and it's not something I thought about. I spent a lot of time being a fat bloke thinking, yeah, I'll be a much better person if I just lose this weight. It's the weight that's making me not the best person in the world, or stopping me from being a better person. It's do you know what I mean? And it's not that, is it? It's and it was when he said that, it kind of struck a chord with me. So
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And we think that a lot, don't we? Once I've achieved this, I'll be happy. Once I've, and you never get there.
yeah,
But it's sort of almost part of your journey. And yeah, I thought that was a really good episode.
yeah. The other one I said was 2, was our first interview, which was with Judith Barris. And the soundbite that I remember taking away was, it's all about diet. And as she said, you can't outrun your knife and fork. And I thought, I mean, it says it all, doesn't it? There was abs are made in the kitchen was the other thing I think she dropped in there as well.
Yeah, she was brilliant, wasn't she? She come up with so many little little knowledge bombs, and I think it blew us away a little bit, because I knew Judith before the podcast, and I said to her she'd be a really good guest.
And I met her 5 minutes before we sat down to record, so but I was blown away by her knowledge and experience, and she came across really, really well, I thought.
Yeah, I think the thing is with Judith is she's dedicated so much of her life to health, well-being and fitness, not just for men, but for, I mean, she works a lot with menopausal women and stuff like that. But ultimately, mate, she is a proper expert.
Proper fitness buff, isn't she?
Yeah. And she's, I think I said this to you, in the police, a lot of people didn't like her because she was in charge of our fitness centre.
Yeah.
So she was seen as a bit of a hard taskmaster. She used to make people run more than they needed to pass. And you can imagine how that went down.
Yeah.
But the thing with Judith is that she's lovely, and she has high standards.
Yeah.
She expects them of others, and quite right as well. So yeah. A great guest, and her knowledge absolutely brilliant. And the other thing I found quite fascinating about that episode is where she talks about the effects of alcohol.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember, but she basically said that alcohol slows fat burn for, I can't remember how many hours it was. It was either 48 hours or 72 hours after you've consumed alcohol. And we had an influencer on TikTok come back and go, "That's rubbish."
Yeah.
And I mean,
there's not like many substances. You just called it, and then he fucked off again.
That's it, yeah. But then I messaged Judith. I don't know if I told you this. I messaged Judith. I was like, "Oh, by the way, we've been called out for this short." And bless her, and I think because she's such a professional, she sent me about 3 scientific articles written on the back end of research.
Wow.
That proves her point that this is how alcohol affects weight loss. And then the guy who turned around with a huge following, unfortunately, who turned around and goes, "That's a load of rubbish," come back with absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And she weren't saying never drink. What she was saying is just be mindful of it.
Yeah, yeah. It's going back to those kind of social media sort of gym buffs that just say stuff for clicks and likes, that haven't had to lose weight, and they don't get it. There's a disconnect there.
Yeah. Yeah, TikTok isn't necessarily real life, is it?
No. And I think we've worked that out since doing this as well. And I think the eyes that are on it probably aren't our target market. I mean, we've got followers on there, and there'll be guys that do consume and watch TikTok, but it's probably not our primary place. And you've got to ask yourself, if you're looking for weight loss advice, are you going on TikTok for it?
Yeah. Yeah, you're going on fucking...
I just go for funny videos to send the missus. I don't know about you, a lot of my WhatsApp between me and my missus now is just links to TikTok of funny videos.
Yeah, definitely. It's just full of shit, isn't it? But it's sort of shit that you can just consume without really thinking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been some really good episodes, like with Matt's episode. And we recorded Matt's quite early, but we didn't get it out.
Matt was the first interview we'd done, wasn't it?
Yeah, so did we do it on the same day as Judith? I can't remember.
I can't remember the same day or it was very close together. And Matt was the very first person we interviewed, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was midsummer. It was hot.
It was, wasn't it? We were all there in shorts and t-shirt, I think.
Yeah, and then when we released Matt's episode, it was like winner.
Storm Burt had just been around when Matt's episode came out, I think, hadn't it?
Yeah. But do you know what, mate? I thought that was a really good episode as well. And I was actually listening to it the other day. I had a little listen, and because it had been such a long time since we recorded. And I loved what he said. Like, I think I said to him, Matt, what's your go-to healthy meal? And he was like, steak and chips.
And Jerry like,
fucking yeah,
lads, there we go, yeah. But I can do this, mate.
But I thought, the advice he gave there was really good, because it was like, look, you have to eat stuff that you enjoy. You can't just stop eating anything good. But actually, a lot of healthy food is really enjoyable stuff. So yeah, steak and chips, and it's not that bad. And I'll have steak, chips, peas, and mushrooms. So you just add in a little bit more.
Maybe not as many chips. I think that's probably the way to play. Yeah, play there. And Nando's, he was a big advocate of Nando's, and
I don't think he was a big advocate, but he's like,
no, he likes medias. He doesn't go for the hot stuff, does he? Bless him. But no, he did say Nando's is good, and like I said, it's grilled chicken at the end of the day, so it is nice food, isn't it? And
yeah,
I love a Nando's. I mean, originally my go-to Nando's would be the butterfly chicken, or maybe the chicken burger, chips, coleslaw. Then we'd probably get the side of halloumi, and that's changed. Sometimes I have the chips, but last time I went, I had the rice and had the garlicky broccoli, which I actually quite liked. Have you had that before?
No.
Oh, give it a go. It is really good.
I haven't been to Nando's for ages.
No, you're not?
No. But I thought the whole episode was a good point. You got to make it, and we've said it on the podcast numerous times, haven't we? It's not the one day that's going to fuck you. It's the consistent shit that you eat, or and actually, you can eat to enjoy food whilst eating healthy as well.
Yeah, I think that leads into another episode that I really enjoyed with Kat Thorne, and so she has her business, The Morning Game Changer, and her podcast, the Positive Habits podcast. And she spoke quite passionately about making small changes, and they can have such a big influence on your day. Yeah. And I've said it a few times on this podcast already. It's not like one holiday or one trip out that's going to make you fat. It's what you do day in, day out. And it's making small changes, just being that bit mindful on a day-to-day, on an average Monday, you're driving home from work. Do I need to stop for Mackey's for my dinner? Or can I go and just get something a bit healthier in the supermarket across the road when I'm out on the road? I come home and it's busy on a Friday, and it's Friday, I'll go and have a takeaway. Do you need to have a takeaway? Now, I'm not saying don't have a takeaway, but no, you not do it all the time.
Yeah.
It's that, isn't it? And it's just lots of small changes are what kind of make or breaks you, I guess.
So yeah, and I think that whole mindset thing is big. And I think a lot of the time we have a takeaway because we still see it as a big treat and stuff like that. But me and my missus my missus works every other Friday, so she has a little bar job. And I've said to her, like, on the Fridays that she's there, we should have a homemade curry. So the idea is a treat, but we're going to make it at home because it's a lot healthier. And actually, mate, I cook a banging curry. You'll have to come over one night.
Yeah.
I would say,
you said a lot about this curry.
You've been on about it.
Yeah.
I've perfected it now where I actually pretty much prefer Italian takeaway. But what we'll do is we'll allow ourselves, because it is Friday, because it's a treat, a few trimmings. So we might have a few poppadoms and share an on. Yeah. That's our treat. We're still having it, but we're just making a slightly better decision because we're not going out and actually, mate, to be honest, saving ourselves £20 every time we don't go for a curry. So
at least.
Yeah. So I think like Matt said and like Kat says, I think actually breaking that habit of let's get a takeaway on a Friday night because that's our thing and we deserve it, is quite nice. But also we're still enjoying it. Like, Matt said, you've got to enjoy your food. So yeah, it's quite a good.
You put green beans in that curry.
Yeah, so we talked about this and we said, we'll come back to that on another episode. I can't remember what episode it was. So it was my 16th birthday. So for those of you that haven't listened to episode 1, me and Mark went to secondary school together. And we were not really that, not friends, but we didn't really have much to do with each other in early secondary. But
No, towards year 9, year 10, we probably started hanging out more regularly, didn't we?
yeah, after I got suspended from school and had to change my friendship groups.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, so I swore at a teacher at school and got suspended for 3 days.
Oh, Darren. I didn't know this story.
Yeah, so my dad, Mark used to be terrified of my dad. Do you remember that? So my dad was a firefighter back in the day. He was a bricklayer as well, so he was quite stocky, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And I got suspended from school. I was about year 9. And I remember shitting myself because I'm like, oh my God, his dad at work, so being a firefighter, he works shifts. Is he at work today? What's going on? And my mum picked me up from school and she was just like, get in the car. So shit. Got in the car and she just said, I'll let your dad deal with you when you get home. And I remember thinking, oh fuck. Like he's never laid hands on us, never. But we got home and he just went, gonna be a builder then, are you? And you know, when you're like, what? He's like, well, you're not working very hard at school. You can come work on a building site with me. And like now, as a 40-year-old, I'm thinking, I wish I'd have fucking done that. But back then, it was like, oh, and he goes, good, because he was about to build an extension on the house.
Yeah.
And he had, I think it was about, I don't know, this is probably inflated, but there was about 4,000 bricks in the garden. And he was like, right. And do you know what brick grabs are? So imagine 6 bricks. You put this like device around it, and as you lift the handle, it clips the bricks in. So you grab 6 and stack them, and you stack them like in other ways. So you stack them up into piles. And he was like, well, what I want you to do is move those 4,000 bricks to the end of the garden before I go to work, because he was on nights as a firefighter. So I was like, oh, okay. And I remember that it was like summery time, and there was like there was loads of wasps around, and I was moaning about that. And he's like, no, you're gonna have to get used to that. Anyway, that was my punishment. And then at the end of the day, he was like, right, I want him back before I go home from work. And after that, I decided to sort my shit out. We become friends. And on my 16th birthday, we go out for a curry, don't we?
Yeah, I was going to say, we're going a bit wide of the mark there, but yeah.
Sorry, I went off.
But no, that's cool. I wondered why you just started randomly hanging out with me one time. I was one of the geeks at school. I was a bit of a nerd. Well, certainly wasn't part of the cool kids. And then one day he just rocks up and
becomes a nerd as well.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
So we went out for a curry. It was my 16th birthday. Yeah. You and Nick, who's a chef now, I think, isn't he?
He is, yeah. Yeah, that's right.
We just go out with my family, my uncle Terry and my dad. And at the end, towards the end of the meal, wasn't it?
I think it was, yeah.
Was it my dad turned around to my uncle and was like, oh, Terry, aren't these green beans lovely? And I think they convinced you to try a green bean.
Yeah, that's right.
Followed by Mark running to the toilet.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a green bean. It was one of the hottest chilies I've ever eaten. And I just remember my mouth going on fire. Sweating beads just rolling down the side of my head.
Yeah. So it was a naga chili.
And that was it? Is that what it was it?
Yeah, I'd say. Yeah, like they always have like nagarias at our local curry house that are full of naga chilies. They're quite hot.
Yeah, they're quite potent.
But maybe that's what sparked your love for hot food.
Yeah, I mean, I do actually like a hot curry now. So, it probably did some. It did some good for me, I guess, in the long run. It hardened me to me spicy food and that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
cool. That's an old story though, isn't it?
24 years.
Yeah, literally.
Mental, isn't it?
Literally, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, what other episodes have you enjoyed?
I think the one that I liked, one of the things, the takeaways I liked from Matt as well, was to do what you enjoy. And it's something that we'd sort of like briefly covered on before anyway.
Yeah.
To do what you enjoy. So, we do Man v Fat. We enjoy football, and there's other things out there as well. There's, similar things. And from that, we then interviewed Andy Harding. Yes, talk about cycling.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really good episode.
He really does do what he enjoys, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's so passionate about it. And it was just the little tips, like, if you want to get out cycling, how do you do it? and cycling in groups I thought was really good. And although cycling's maybe not my bag, but my wife's very much into her cycling, and it's just a lot of valuable tips. And I think if you're someone who actually quite fancies getting out on a bike, Andy would be a really good person to connect with.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I really liked it. And he was, I said, such an advocate of just getting out and giving it a go. You don't have to be cycling sort of 120 kilometres on your first ride and that. There's levels to this. Just get out and have a stroll. I mean, there's a lot of information out there. The clubs are all welcoming. And I think, yeah, something that's worth giving a go, I think, isn't it?
Definitely. And it was the valuable tips as well. Like, once you do certainly start building up into the longer distances, make sure you do your stretch routine because you're hunched over on a bike.
Yeah.
So, those stretch routines are really important. Just good things out. And I think next year, mate, what we should look at doing is trying to get people in for different sports as well.
Yeah. And I spoke to a guy about jiu-jitsu the other day. He's quite big into that. So, we'll have a chat about that one time.
Yeah, we can do whenever he wants, like whatever he wants, we'll do. I'm not going to get into it with him, like, Yeah, I've got a mate who does jiu-jitsu, and he's often got black eyes and stuff. But it does sound quite fun, and I think as a bloke, like, because boxing as well, like, don't get me wrong, I'm too old and too weak to ever box professionally. But in gyms in the past, there's been like boxing class, like where you punch pads and stuff.
Yeah, no, that's sort of fun. I think we can probably get someone to do with the boxing industry on, surely.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good episode. I mean, it's quite manly, quite masculine, isn't it?
Yeah, and punching shit makes you feel so good about it.
There's something about it, definitely.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind a bit of that.
Yeah.
Can't not talk about Premier League winner, Luke Chadwick.
Yeah, quite. Yeah, I think we didn't do that because that episode's coming out very soon at the time of recording. It will be out now. So, Luke Chadwick. Oh, that's always going to be your favourite episode because he played for Norwich, right?
It wasn't just he played for Norwich. He scored against Ipswich on his debut. I mean, any player that scores against Ipswich is very lives spawned in the memory for us Norwich fans. And it unfortunately wasn't a great game for him overall because he got injured in the same game and then he was out for like 3-4 months, I think it was. Bless him. But no, it's great to sort of speak to an ex-professional and someone that had played with the likes of Giggs, Beckham, Keane, won the Premier League with Sir Alex in charge. I mean, it was a great insight to hear that.
Yeah. I think that was a real high for our podcast to have someone who's done that on. And actually, I think it probably showed in the podcast how passionate I was. I've got 2 kids. It's always been a lot on my mind about not installing in them bad habits that I have.
Yeah.
And so I think not only was it great to have someone like Luke on who's been there and done what we've always dreamed of doing.
Yeah.
But it was just a good episode as well.
It was a good episode. If we want to be brutally honest, I think we probably didn't talk enough about the kids stuff because we were more interested in winning the Premier League and sort of scoring against the scum and stuff like that. So, the scum, Ipswich, it's a bad word in our house. But no, I think we probably will do another episode about keeping kids fit and that because this is our legacy, I guess, isn't it? It's like healthy dads will make healthy kids ultimately, won't they? And that's what we want to do. If we're fat and lazy, then fat and lazy habits will then affect our kids as well. So I love the episode. It was great to have Luke Chadwick on, someone who played at the highest level. And to see that what he's doing with Football Fun Factory now, I think is fantastic. And I think there's loads more that we can look at in sort of getting kids active, and that'll be something we'll cover again going into the next year, won't it?
Definitely, it's something we've got planned actually. With Taylor. So her episode will be coming out January, February time. But I think Football Fun Factory, we're both massive fans of it. It's like we were saying for adults, you got to get active and when you lose weight, you'll certainly help being more active. But also it's important for our children. My kids, man, I don't know about yours, but if I let them, they'd spend all day in front of their games constantly.
Oh, of course I will, yeah.
That's why I've always had the thing in our house is that you have to do a sport.
Yeah.
And both of them play football now. And I think Football Fun Factory has been a big part of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was great, and it was really good to speak to him about, like, who was the toughest person you played against. I think was one of the questions.
Yeah, that was right.
And you just think to yourself, crikey, he actually knows what it's like to have Roy Keane as a manager, as a captain.
Yeah,
Alex Ferguson as a coach. He knows what happened in that dressing room. It's just, we could have spoke to him.
Played along. Yeah. We didn't. We had to kind of just squeeze it in, really. But I'd love to sort of talk more to sort of like pros in that and so on. But yeah, to play alongside Beckham, that's incredible.
The other thing I'm really interested in, mate, which we'll have to try and go for 2025, is like the inside of a club. So, like, what do they eat? What's their diet like?
Yeah,
I'd love to speak to a football club about a chef and
top chef or something like that. Yeah, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
And it doesn't have to be football; it could be rugby, any professional sport.
Yeah,
and the podcast has taken us to a few weird places, hasn't it? We've been in with a supplement company. We won't name them yet, but we've been invited in with them, and I thought that was quite interesting to see how supplements work. That's again something that we could probably cover in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had, I don't know. We've had things on the social media getting called out. Like I said, that made us laugh.
Yeah.
I've had guys sending me pictures of them in their pants, saying, "Look at me, I've lost all this weight." And I thought, wow.
Yes. Sorry about that, mate.
I wasn't quite expecting that one, but it's been great, and we have lots of people reaching out. We should probably just talk about some of the episodes we've done just between ourselves as well, really. There's been some good stuff we've done there and spoke about.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've had our own stories, which I think was important, and that really set the tone. But then, like, we've not mentioned it yet, but Man v Fat, how big is, like I said, it's a big part of this podcast, and so we did the episode on it. We've got an interview coming up very soon with Richard Crick, who's the head of Man v Fat. So look out for that, especially if you play Man v Fat. I'm sure you'll really like that one.
And the other thing is, next year we've been invited, hopefully we're going to be invited to some events that they put on as well. Interesting. I know that, is it Paul Merson's been at a few of them? Is it Paul Merson?
There's been a host of sort of ex-pros that have sort of been on it. Yeah.
And I think that's because it's such a good cause that people can get behind. That's why we've partnered for a Man v Fat, mate, because I think that there's just nothing bad about that organisation. It is a weight loss for men initiative. It was mentioned
around football.
It was actually mentioned in a House of Lords paper, which was talking about weight loss, and one of the biggest issues is how to engage with men. So we've got a lot of female-based incentives out there.
Yeah,
men do them, but it's hard to break into men.
There's nothing for blokes, and I think it's the way that weight loss with Man v Fat is gamified. I think that's a big part of its success.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? And it's like, if I lose weight this week, we can get an extra 3 goals added because I get to my 5%. Then that gives us a 3-0 head start on the pitch. It means this gives us the best chance of winning this game.
Yeah.
Or equally, you get battered on the pitch, but then you've got your percentage goal and everyone's turned up, show tracking and that. And all of a sudden, you could lose the game 7-8-0 and then still win it like 10-8 off the pitch.
Yeah.
And I've been in games like that. That's happened quite often, hasn't it?
Yeah, mate, same. It happened to us a few weeks ago. We got beaten on the pitch by about 4 or 5 goals, I think it was, but we won the game overall. And that's the thing. I think it just works so well for men because it's not really about talking about emotions and stuff like that. It's putting everything into action. It's gamifying it.
Yeah.
And they're now obviously launching Man v Rugby or
Man v Fat Rugby. Yeah, that seems to be going well.
But they're moving out from there, but they're taking the model, and I'm a huge fan of it. We did an episode on it. I thought it was really good. A lot of our listeners, we know because of feedback we get from playing football that the podcast is them. So thanks everyone if you're listening for Man v Fat.
Yeah. If you're playing in the Man v Fat Rugby setup, get in touch. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll get you on the show because it'd be good to see Man v Fat from a slightly different perspective, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And also, there's actually a someone who's lost 50%, I think it was, of their body weight on the Man.
Fucking hell, that's mad, isn't it?
That we might be able to get on. So we'll, if we can, we'll definitely do that next year. That is incredible, and half of your body weight is just.
Yeah,
no, it's amazing.
Yeah, we'd get them on, but yeah, no. Okay.
we love Man v Fat. We talk about it most weeks on here, but it's, like I said, it's one of the best decisions I did was when I sort of rocked up for that first time. It was the end of 2017, and it was at Meaning Lounge at Cambridge United, and I got there, and I basically try to find the way in, saw another fat guy. I thought he's here for the same reason as me, and and I just said, "Oh, you're here for Man v Fat?" He goes, "Yeah," and we got talking, and we found our way in and everything, and then joined my team, and the rest is history. And my first team was Juventus. We won the cup in our second season, and we had a great time, and like I said, it's a big part of what we do and what we talk about. But I love it, and it's the simple way of saying it to people is, what else are you going to do on a Monday night? It's the most fun you can have on a Monday night. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, it's a big part of this, and we do a great episode, and it will continue to feature on what we do. What else did we talk about?
We talked about life on the road. But I thought, that was a lot of rambling. I thought a lot of rambling about what we've been doing, and I went on for too long about an experience that I'd had. But there was a key takeaway in there that I actually really liked, and that was like, actually, do you know what? It's all about preparation, right?
Yeah.
You've got to be prepared if you want to. You really, really get on it. And we said, well, why don't you put a little fridge box? Like those little camping fridges.
Yeah.
Why don't you put one in your car, certainly during the summer, and stick your lunch in there? Because if you're on the road like we are a lot, you don't have access to that sort of stuff. And I thought that was a good little takeaway.
I have a cool bag in my car. That's what I usually do. Just put a couple of ice packs in there, and they get me lunch and everything in it. But yeah, I've definitely improved. I think I do. For lunch now, I'd always just get a meal deal. My go-to meal deal would be like the chicken triple or the club triple or whatever, the biggest fuck off sandwich I could find, basically. Grab bag of spicy Doritos and then a bottle of Coke Zero. And I can hand on heart say what I get on my lunches now is miles from that. I've stopped drinking Diet Coke and Coke Zero. I mean, I'm going to realise it's just as bad for you. It's not doing you any good. I mean, it is pointless drinking it. And so I like my sparkling water when I drink that. I so use a San Pellegrino when I'm out on the road. Snacks I'm quite happy getting a couple of boiled eggs. That goes down well. And yeah, just less processed food. So maybe I'll get a flapjack or something, but which may not be the healthiest thing in the world, but it's certainly better than a Mars bar or a Snicker, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely. Yeah, it's and I think that one of the things that I'm picking up as we go through is the ultra processed thing is massive. And look, this might not be diet and I think it is very relevant to diet and weight loss, but actually just eating better and taking out all the craps, the preservatives. And when you start researching it, and I know we've done an episode coming out in January with a weight loss GP where we cover quite extensively ultra processed foods, don't we?
Yeah.
It opens your eyes a little bit to how the foods are designed to keep you eating, get you wanting more.
Yeah.
And it becomes a vicious circle. So staying away from that is definitely well worth looking into. And it's the little things as well. I didn't even realize, like you obviously you get natural foods, you get processed foods, and you get ultra processed foods. And it's even, and I'm more aware now. So yesterday I went out for lunch with one of my clients and they had an orange juice, and I would have thought that was like a really good choice previously. In fact, the machine, you could actually see the oranges being squeezed into it.
Mm-hmm.
But when the doctor sort of said, well, actually, although it's not ultra processed, you're still processing that. You're taking the fibre out of the orange, which is...
So you're just getting the sugar here, none of the fibre. And that goes into your bloodstream quicker. Yeah.
Yes. But like you, mate, I've quit the fizzy drinks now. So I don't like fizzy water. I still drink beer. That's the fizzy drink I do.
Yeah.
But I don't really drink Diet Coke. None of that sort of stuff now. And
no.
it's strange, isn't it? Because you look at it on the traffic light system on the label, and it's green, green, green. Yeah, it's almost like the healthiest thing you can have. And it's already
fucking not, yeah.
But yeah, it's what I didn't realize is it's like the chemicals in there are designed to give your brain the same sort of messages, if you like, as sugar.
Yeah.
So actually, yeah,
like it creates insulin and
yeah. Your brain doesn't know that's the diet Coke and not a normal Coke. No, it responds in the same way. So what's the fucking point?
Yeah, no, that's it. Exactly that. We did one also about holidays and that, and special occasions, and yeah, I think the main thing was if you're on holiday, you're on holiday, like we did with Christmas, and we spoke about Christmas the other week. Ultimately, you're going to enjoy these things. Don't beat yourself up about it. If you can make some smart decisions, yeah, that's good. But again, 1 week, I say it a lot, 1 week, one couple of nights out with your mates, that's not going to make or break your weight loss journey. It's just a moment in time. Do it, enjoy it, but prepare to be back on it when you're done. And I think that's the best bit of advice we can give on that, really, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much where we're at now, isn't it? We've got some really exciting stuff coming up for the new year.
Yeah, I'm really pumped. I feel like our best work is still coming out.
Yeah.
I'd like to think so. We're early doors anyway, but from what we've recorded so far, the best episodes are coming out. And we've got, say, an interview with Richard Crick coming out. That's going to be awesome. And the 3 episodes with Dr. Lisa, I think were brilliant. And I really enjoyed them, and we sort of really delved into some sort of exciting topics like the ultra-processed food. We did a Q&A as well, and there's some great questions in there, and it was really good to hear a doctor's perspective. So yeah, I think that's going to be really good. So yeah, here's to 2025, I guess, mate.
Yeah, 2025. We've got an event to start training for in March.
Yeah, too late now, isn't it? I've said it, so yeah, we need to have a think about that and decide what we'll get involved with. But we've made that commitment. We've got something to focus on, and we can thank Chris and Dan for that, because it was their. We'll take inspiration from them, and yeah, let's see where it takes us.
We're accountable now, mate.
We are accountable. This is it, mate. Cool. Okay. Well, I guess we should probably round it up there. Thank you for everyone that's listened in 2024. We really appreciate it. We hope you like what we've put out. And yeah, Happy New Year, and wish you all the best for 2025.
Take care.